Hello, curl friends. This is Annalise Goree here with you today. This is a special event. We are going live with our special guest of our second day at Camp Curly, Denver, 2026. It is a really unique opportunity to get technical and show the girls that we can engage with technology. We had a bunch of different experiences already for camp, and now with our special guest kicking it off for the week, we have Miss Evita Giron. She is an amazing author, and she will be coming up and reading her book to our group. And they are all watching in their small groups using technology in a positive way, and they'll be able to engage with this live as well as their parents and anyone afterwards, and type in emojis, reactions, and questions that they might have for the author and her experience with writing, becoming an author, or just her curly journey herself. With no further ado, our special guest. Hello.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Hello, curl friends out there. Thank you for having me join your camp for the day and to read my first children's book, The Girl with the Magical Curls. I don't know if you can see the cover here. Thank you. And I'll start. So I'll say a little bit about myself first. I'm a children's book author from the state of New Jersey. So I'm on the East Coast. I have a daughter. She's now 13, but she's actually the main character in this book. I wrote the book when she was about 2 years old. I published it when she turned 5. And I'll talk a little bit later about the publishing journey. But she's actually my inspiration for writing this book. So everyone follow along as I read The Girl with the Magical Curls. Have you ever met a girl with magical curls? Curls so long and wild, she could glide through the sky, use them as a springy jump rope, and even help at home with tricky chores. Tatiana did not always have curls that she loved or that she thought were magical. She did not want curls that reached high to the sky or were springy as a jump rope. She wanted long, straight hair like her friends at school or the princesses she saw on her favorite cartoons. Today was wash day, and it was time to go to the local beauty supply store with her mom to pick out new products for their hair. Tatiana was never excited about wash day, simply because she did not like getting her hair wet, with water dripping down her eyes and ears. She thought brushing and detangling her curls took forever. While Tatiana's mom searched the top shelves for just the right product for their curls, with a wandering eye, Tatiana spotted a standalone pink, sparkling, glittery bottle. The bottle read, Madame Chauveau's hair growth oil. Just 2 drops and your hair will grow as long as you desire. Tatiana jumped up and down excitedly and waved the bottle above her head. Mom, look at this. I wonder if it really works. Hmm, just 2 drops and your hair will grow as long as you desire. Tatiana's mom read the label herself. I suppose we can try it on your hair. And even if it doesn't grow as long as you desire, it can make your hair even healthier. As they checked out at the store and headed home, Tatiana began to daydream about all the wonderful things the special oil could do to her hair. Now my hair will grow as long as Rapunzel's. No more wash days, no more detangling, no more curls. Hmm. Let's see what happens next. That night, Tatiana did not cry while getting her hair washed or wince her eyes when water would hit them. She didn't even ask, "Are you finished yet?" as her mom moisturized each section of her hair. This is going to be my last wash day ever, Tatiana thought while her mom detangled her hair. Next, her mom took the little bottle of oil and massaged 2 drops onto Tatiana's scalp. At last, her mom neatly wrapped Tatiana's favorite silk bonnet around her head and tucked her into bed. "Mom, my hair is going to be as long as Rapunzel's, and you'll never have to wash it ever again." Tatiana's mother giggled as she put Tatiana's favorite stuffed kitten on her pillow. "Oh, Tatiana, your hair is not going to grow overnight. It will take time and patience." Tatiana simply could not wait. While her mom and dad were asleep, she climbed out of bed, taking the little bottle of oil in her hand. She poured every last drop all over her head and massaged her scalp just like her mom did. Oh my goodness. Let's see what's going to happen next. I love this is actually one of my favorite pictures from the book. When Tatiana woke up the next morning, she rolled out of bed, tangled in a web of curls. "My hair is longer than Rapunzel's." Let's see what her mom and dad thought about her curls. "That hair oil was magical," she squeaked excitedly as she dashed to her mom and dad, who were speechless. "What are we going to do with all of this hair?" her mother said, already exhausted at the thought of the next wash day with so much hair to manage. "Maybe we can cut a little bit off," her dad questioned as he held up some curls as long as his body. "No way." Her hair whipped from her dad's hands and curled around Tatiana, lifting her up in the air. "It's magical. My curls are magical." Tatiana could make her magical curls, pick up toys, paint masterpieces, and even help mom and dad around the house. How cool. "You have been so helpful and responsible, Tatiana," her mother said as she patted her wild curls. "You can take a break and play with your friend next door." Let's see what's going to happen after this. This is exciting. What could be exciting for some people after this. Next door, Tatiana's friend Catherine was amazed at how magically long her curls were. "I love your curls so much," she said as Tatiana's curls picked up Catherine gently and tickled her belly. Soon their laughter was interrupted by a loud cry. "Meow, meow, meow." A kitten stuck high up in a tree cried for help. "Can you help the kitten down, Tatiana?" Catherine asked. Well, Tatiana had used her hair to help her mom get her favorite cereal from on top of the refrigerator, so she was sure she could use her curls to rescue the kitten. Let's see what happens next. With a focused look, Her curls began to wind and spin up into the air, going higher and higher until they reached the kitten. The kitten gently stepped onto her hair and slowly climbed down the curly spiral staircase that guided it with care. The kitten fell in love with Tatiana and her helpful curls. Tatiana couldn't wait to rush home and tell her parents what happened and ask if she could keep the sweet cat. Let's see if she'll be allowed to keep the cat. And the mom looks a little bit suspicious about this. Let's see. Can I keep him? Can I keep him, please? Tatiana asked. Only if you promise to take care of the kitten. Taking care of a pet is a big responsibility. And it was irresponsible to use the entire bottle of hair oil, said Tatiana's mom, with her arms folded. She did make up for it by helping us with chores around the house, said Tatiana's dad. Besides, we could continue to use some curl magic around the house, and the kitten could contribute too. Isn't that right, little kitty? Tatiana's dad said while rubbing the kitten's chin. Well, your dad is right. You did help us around the house, and you saved this kitten's life. I would say you earned yourself a kitten, Tatiana's mom agreed with a smile. I promise I will take care of the kitten and take good care of my hair too, Tatiana said while her curls danced with glee because of the good news. Her magical curls wrapped her mom, dad, and kitten in a big, curly hug. The end. And this is my Tatiana when she was 2. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for reading your amazing children's book out loud to our girlfriends in their small groups. There was a little feedback, so I had to pace some of the page turning to catch up with some of our
No
background.
problem. I appreciate it.
Yeah, if you could hear some of the reactions, I think the page where her hair grew and she was her head was on the floor, that was
Mhm.
the big one. The kitten being stuck in the tree, and even when she was able to keep the
Mhm.
kitten after all. So definitely grateful for your story here, and I love a story that is inspired by an actual curl friend who probably had to give her
Mhm.
approval as well. So I'm going to take off
Yeah.
the book here. We can chat a little bit more. And now, if our
Excellent.
facilitators have a chance to ask our curl friends what questions they might have about the book, what the
Mhm.
process was to become an author, and you even have a reader's favorite 5 star. So what was that like being acknowledged? That's my question, and
Mhm.
definitely would love to learn more about that.
Yes, definitely. So the Reader's Favorite is a website where authors can actually feature a book, and there are volunteers on the site that actually choose to read certain books. So this book was chosen after I submitted it, and they gave it a 5 star reading, which was really helpful. And they also gave feedback on how they thought about the book, and they sent that to me. And being a chosen reader's favorite, they also sent me some stickers to put on my books and showcase for people. So that was a great experience. And if you can remind me, what was the other question? The starting with my journey.
Yeah, what was even just your curl journey and then becoming a
Sure.
parent, obviously, and
Oh
ultimately
yes.
writing the book?
Mm-hmm. My curl journey. So for I would say most of my 20s, um, I started straightening my hair quite a bit. Um, I didn't really embrace my curls until I reached till about 29, 30. Um, and it's really because I wanted to have, healthier hair. Um, I felt like I had trouble even growing my hair at a certain point, and really just feeling like and looking like it's healthy. So I had a trim. I didn't have like a huge like the big chop they call it, but I did get it trimmed and um, just started trying to network with. Oh, thank you so much, Taylor. Thank you. I see her comment. Thank you so much. I started doing like a lot of research on, companies like Miss Jessie's, Carol's daughter. Started buying a lot of those products and just trying them on my hair. Those were some of my first ones to try. Mixed Chicks. Um, I didn't really get into Miel until maybe like when my daughter was born. But that's a whole nother like trial and error base that you go through with buying products and learning, okay, that you have three different curl patterns in your hair and which ones work better and going through that whole thing. Um, but I also started making my own flaxseed gel, researching, the use of coconut oil. So it was really a lot of research, a lot of trial and error, talking to other women also about their journeys and um, I guess just kind of inundating myself in the curl community and learning from other people, and that helped to strengthen my own journey. Um, and also the support of my husband too. Um, he was actually like, "Look, I love your natural hair. I love your natural curls. Um, it's beautiful. Embrace it because that's going to be, me feeling good about it is going to mean so much to our daughter." So that was the beginning of the journey. And in terms of my inspiration for writing a book, so another part of the inspiration was after I watched the Dove Love Your Curls campaign commercial back in 2015. I saw that commercial and I was like, oh my God, it's so cute. Um, I had been thinking about writing professionally or at least coming out with a book that the beginning of that particular year. I'd always been a writer. I started out writing short stories and poetry when I was in middle school, um, but I really didn't start pursuing it as a thought and trying to act on. Okay, you have to find an illustrator first. You have to find an editor to edit your story. That wasn't until like 2015 that I actually was like, okay, let me talk to people. Let me join Facebook groups. Um, Let me figure out the topic that I want to write about because I have so many different ideas. But I felt like at that time, after seeing that commercial, I'm like, I have a 2 year old. It would be great if I could write a children's book related to something that I was going through at the time, which was the beginnings of my hair journey. So everything kind of fit together at a perfect moment. Um, so after watching the Dove Love Your Curls campaign commercial, and then um, my daughter's like curls really started coming in around that time. So I would say the combination of that really inspired me to write this book. So um, yeah, and the journey has been a really beautiful journey. I'm self-published, so I'm not connected to a traditional publishing company at the moment, but all my books are self-published. So I have The Girl with the Imaginary Curls, also have it in Spanish as well, La Niña con los Rizos Mágicos. And then I have an affirmation book, 30 short affirmations for curly haired kids. And then also our cat, it's Hanukkah Morty. This is my latest book. So I try to write, uh, I guess I try to include characters that are in my life in my stories. So, oh, there we go. Thank you. This is another
I was
media
able to
space.
pull it up. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Just sharing that you had a lot of ideas and you didn't know necessarily where to go. That is really important, I think, for girlfriends to hear that, hey, no one just has it figured
Hmm.
out. There's sometimes hesitancy, questioning,
Hmm.
doubts, and
Hmm.
just not being sure how to even start the process. And
Right.
writing and becoming an author is definitely one opportunity that anyone could really pursue.
Hmm.
However, there's some people who literally have stories inside them that they, like you said, want, need, and feel and has to get
Yeah.
out because of
Hmm.
who they want to impact, what they want others to get from their wisdom or observations.
Hmm.
And I really appreciate you bringing that to light. And
Absolutely.
we we have a few questions there. Maybe a couple of
Okay.
girlfriends joining on. Let
Okay.
me give
Excellent.
me 1 second to
Hmm.
confirm. All right, we have a girlfriend coming up on stage now. Gonna ask her question.
Okay. Okay.
All right, Miss Kaya, if you press unmute, we can hear you with your question, and you can share your video, but we'll see if it works.
Okay.
Little technical difficulties. Miss Ayana, are you ready? Okay, who's going to do it?
So my question is, are these real characters or are they made up characters?
That's a great question, Ayana. So for my first book, The Girl with the Magical Curls, my daughter Tatiana is a real character, and the her mom and dad in the story is actually me and my husband, so Tatiana's dad. So yes, um, just those three characters from the first book are real. Her friend Catherine is not a real character, but it's interesting because my daughter does have a friend, one of her best friends that she grew up with, named Giselle, and she looks like Catherine, but that wasn't on purpose. It just happened to happen that way. Um, but yes, so the three of us in the book, the mom and dad and Tatiana, are real characters.
Thank you.
Thank you. What was okay? Amina asked, what was something that you were thinking when you were making the book? So when I thought of the story idea, the original inspiration was my daughter Tatiana, and after watching the Dove Love Your Curls campaign commercial, which you can find on YouTube, um, I wanted to write a children's book because I was reading so many books to my daughter at the time when she was 2. So I was definitely thinking about going into that genre of books. And then I was thinking that I wanted to create a superhero like character, like a kid superhero that had curly hair, because you don't find a lot of books like that. I mean, now there's a lot more, but back then when I first thought of the idea, there weren't a lot of books where you found a curly haired superhero that was actually using their curls as their magical, like, superhero power. So that's what I was thinking when I was first putting the story together. Thank you for your question.
We're working out some of the other technical difficulties. We have one more question from Amina's group.
That's a great question. Are you interested in making another book like this? Actually, I have written a draft of The Girl with the Magical Curls, a part 2 follow up adventure story. So I hope soon to start working on the draft and working with an editor and getting some illustrations together. But that definitely is a goal of mine, to come out with a part 2. So thank you for your question.
We have one more question from Ayana's group.
Okay, great.
Did you illustrate this book?
So I didn't illustrate the book. I just wrote the words, but I found an illustrator through a illustration group that is on the internet, uh, from a young lady who is so talented. Her name is Rhea James, and she is credited on the cover of the book. So I hired her to bring my story to life. So she's the illustrator. Thank you.
How long how long did it take to make the book?
How long did it take? Let me see. For this particular book, it took me about, I would say, about 8 months, 8 to 9 months, almost a year, because I first had to write down what my thoughts were. And sometimes when you're writing, you don't always want to submit the very first piece of, like, draft that you write. um, you want someone to look over the work, right? So like in school, you would have, if you're taking English or literature class, you would have your teacher look it over first. You would even might have your mom and dad look it over before you actually turn your paper in, because you want it to be um, almost perfect, I would say, especially because you want to publish the work, but you also want someone to add those images to it. So it has to flow, and it has to have, like, an editor first approve the work. So um, it took almost a year to publish.
Thank you to our friends
Thank
and
you.
for everyone watching. I definitely wanted to bring you on during camp because typically we learn, about embracing ourselves, and part of that process, we come up with ideas, products, services that could make a difference in the curly communities. Exactly what you described your process was. And in fact, on Thursday, campers will actually, they don't know this yet, So hopefully they're not listening. There's going to be an opportunity to pitch and share an idea that they come up with that addresses some of the things that we learned throughout the week. Maybe it's
Nice.
creating their own hair products, maybe it is going to space and a program that gets you there, whatever.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we're excited. One of the things we didn't get to do yet, but was important in the past to talk
Mhm.
about the Black Doll test, and
Mhm.
it, you know, essentially in a psych eval that two doctors did, the
Mhm.
Brown, Dr. Browns, and
Mhm.
it was used to help desegregate um, education and Brown,
Mhm.
not Brown, sorry, and Brown versus Board of Education. And they basically found that separate but equal had a very um, negative impact on Black students and youth as young as 3. They were choosing dolls that were, they would identify dolls that were Black as ugly, mean, bad,
Mhm.
and dolls that were white appearing, obviously with blonde hair, blue eyes, as good, better, best. And in that outcome was actually the convincing component of changing the separate but equal. It
Mhm.
wasn't equal because white kids did not choose Black
Mhm.
dolls same as the Black kid, or excuse me, as they did not see themselves as inferior, as essentially the Black children were feeling by
Mhm.
choosing dolls that would represent them as the
Mhm.
negatives. That's an internalization of self
Mhm.
hatred and racism that
Mhm.
equal sustained. And so we typically go through that conversation gently. It brings out a
Mhm.
lot of emotions. But by the end, the girls and curly girls and curl friends are able to discuss and come up with what is an action that or idea they can come up together as a group, individually, what they're doing that
Mhm.
addresses what they just saw. They just saw kids choosing Black dolls as bad, white dolls as good and pretty, and they have to do something about that. So they
Mhm.
come up with things like writing books, having
Mhm.
t-shirt campaigns that says I am beautiful, that have depictions and artwork that reflect who they are in their family and culture, and with skin tones, curly patterns, and even experiences such as a wash day. I mean, that's not
Mhm.
something every culture has to reserve 4 hours each
Mhm.
or every 6 weeks or whatever. And it's very important in Curls on the Block that embracing component, but also the empowerment as well. So thank you so much for adding to both the embracing and empowerment component of our curl friends across the globe and galaxy. Thank you again for your time. And I have a question. How old is Tatiana now?
13.
Oh man, so
She'll
she's
be
like,
14 in December. Yep.
look, it's time. It's time for a 14
Yeah,
girl, a 14-year-old with the magical curls. What is she up to now?
definitely.
We'll
Definitely.
get
I love
back and
that.
read that manuscript, okay?
Okay. I
I
will.
am so grateful, and I say it at the end of every video: stay curly.
Yes. Stay curly. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
I'll say it again. Say it again. They
Do
had
it
to.
again.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.